images related to Epstein, and within hours, everyone lost their minds. Cable news ran the same photos on a loop. Celebrity screenshots everywhere. TikTok was on fire. Trump photographed with Epstein, Clinton on the plane, even innocent ones like Michael Jackson were included. Now that's what everybody was talking about. But here's what they all missed. We sat through over 1,000 of those images, and what got overlooked is far worse than who showed up at a party. We're talking about FBI crime scene photos, a passport with a fake name from the 1980s, files that the DOJ deleted overnight, and a Michael Jackson photo that broke the internet for all the wrong reasons. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see that the real story was never about celebrities. It's about how a monster walked free for 30 years, and the system that helped him do it. Yes, there are shocking images in these files. Yes, real famous people appear in them. And yes, you are going to see things in this video that the mainstream media completely skipped. But before we get into the images, you need to know the rough context about this case. Now I'm not going to talk about who is Epstein and what he did, but we will look at a shocking thing that everyone missed. And for that, let's go back to December 19th. On December 19th, 2025, the Department of Justice released 3.5 million pages and 180,000 images, the biggest document release in the history of this case. The House of Horrors. Let's start with where the FBI went first. 9 East 71st Street, Epstein's Manhattan mansion. You'd expect to walk into something fancy, right? High-end art, expensive furniture, the kind of home a billionaire would have. What investigators found was something completely different. The very first thing you see when you walk through the front door? A painting of Bill Clinton, wearing a blue dress and red heels, lounging in the Oval Office. Visitors said they stopped, stared, and laughed nervously. The artist, Patrina Ryan Clyde, made it in 2012 as a piece of political satire. She had no idea who bought it until 2019, when she found out it had been hanging in Epstein's house the entire time. Why does that matter? Because Epstein didn't just own it. He displayed it right at the entrance. Every single visitor saw it the moment they walked in. Psychology experts have a name for that kind of move. It's called dominance. A silent message that says, I know your secrets. I own your scandals. That painting wasn't art, it was a trophy. But the painting was just the beginning. On the main staircase, there was a mannequin dressed in a wedding gown, hanging from the chandelier like a body. Visitors described feeling physically sick just looking at it. The walls of one room were lined with rows of individually framed prosthetic eyeballs, real prosthetics, the kind made for injured soldiers, imported from England. Epstein would tell visitors this detail, and he loved watching their discomfort. In the study, a full-size taxidermied tiger, a stuffed poodle sitting on top of a grand piano. In Epstein's own words to Vanity Fair, he said he wanted people to think about what it means to stuff a dog. What does it mean to take a living thing and turn it into a display? Every item in that house was a choice, and every choice said the same thing. I collect things, I control things, and I turn them into objects. The FBI photographed all of it, but you won't see these photos on the evening news because they reveal too much about exactly who this man was. The fake passport. Now here's something that barely got covered, and it should have been front-page news. Inside the DOJ files, investigators found a passport, Austrian, with Jeffrey Epstein's face on it, but not Jeffrey Epstein's name, and a residence listed, Saudi Arabia. This isn't a rumor. This isn't a theory someone posted online. This passport is in the official DOJ files. Photographed, documented, real. It has stamps from France, Spain, the United Kingdom. Years of international travel under a completely fake identity. Prosecutors literally held this passport up in court during his 2019 bail hearing. Their argument? This man is a flight risk. He has the means to disappear, multiple identities, international connections. But here's the part that should terrify you. This passport is from the 1980s. That means before his first arrest, before anyone was watching, before a single investigation, before any victims had even come forward publicly, Epstein had already built an escape route. He had been living double lives for decades.
How many other passports did he have? How many other names?
Saudi Arabia gave him a residence listing. Why? Austria issued the document. Who approved it? These questions don't have public answers. This is just the one passport the FBI found. Epstein wasn't just a predator. He was a ghost, operating under fake names, crossing borders for 30 years, and nobody stopped him. The secret storage unit. Here's something even most Epstein watchers don't know about. In 2005, right before a police raid on his Palm Beach home, Epstein hired a private investigator named Paul Levery to quietly remove items from his house. Those items were handed off to another investigator, William Riley, and stored in a secret storage unit nearby. And according to the reporting and the DOJ documents, the FBI may have never searched it. Let me tell you what was in that storage unit, based on a 2009 email inventory that was found inside the Epstein files. 3 computers, 2 Dells, and an HP Pavilion. Over 24 telephone directories, an 8mm tape with handwritten notes, floor exercises, shower, lingerie, goodbye, a massage directory specifically for Florida, over 1 million images and videos pulled from his devices, including approximately 15 to 20 confirmed images of material, lab results, a 2005 personal calendar, a Harvard University ID card. Epstein was quietly given the title of visiting fellow at Harvard's Department of Psychology, even after his conviction. He reportedly visited the campus 40 more times after his guilty plea and kept an office there until 2018, a concealed weapons permit, and $2,256 in cash. When Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter entered Epstein's home after the raid, his description of what he found was simple. The place had been cleaned up, computers gone, evidence removed. And when Epstein was questioned under oath about whether he directed someone to remove computers from his home before the raid, he took the fifth every single time. 30 years of crimes, 1 storage unit, and the FBI may have never even opened the door. The files that disappeared overnight. December 19th, 2025. The files drop. An NPR journalist does something smart. They download everything from the DOJ website the moment it goes live. Smart move, because by the very next day, at least 16 files were gone. Not moved, not reorganized, deleted. NPR ran the comparison. What was on the site Friday morning versus what was there Saturday? 16 specific files had vanished. One of them was a photo of Donald Trump with Ghislaine Maxwell, originally found on Steve Bannon's iPhone by the FBI in 2021, released publicly on Friday morning, gone by Saturday.
Reactions are pouring in after at least 16 documents went missing online, a day after the U.S. Justice Department released files linked to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The files add to the thousands of pages from past investigations, but not all of it has been made public, and that's reigniting political tensions that could spark legal action in the days ahead.
I think that the partial release of the Epstein files will have a negative impact on Trump. This story is continuing to go on, and he's continuing to alienate his former allies in the party that he's been relying upon in Congress in the next fall, because it's very clear that Donald Trump is unpopular. This is even more unpopular than that. And now members of Congress are realizing that their electoral success does not hinge on protecting Trump.
The DOJ's explanation for that one? Abundance of caution. They wanted to verify no victims appeared in the photo. By Sunday, they reposted it. No victims found. Okay, fine, maybe. That accounts for 1 file. What about the other 15? Total silence. No explanation, no statement, no justification. Files that were public became not public overnight. Congressman Thomas Massie, the man who actually wrote the transparency law that forced this release, was furious. He said publicly that this grossly fails to comply with the spirit and letter of the law. He warned that a future DOJ could pursue legal action against the current Attorney General for not releasing everything. The question isn't what was in those deleted photos. The question is, who has the power to make government evidence disappear overnight, and why are they using it? The backwards redactions. Now this one is going to make you angry. I'm warning you up front. 550 pages inside the released files are completely blacked out. Every single word. One document alone had 119 consecutive blank pages. Another had 255 pages in a row. Nothing. The DOJ's reason? Protecting victims, privacy laws, minors. But then Virginia Giuffre's family opened the files, and they were horrified. Not because of what was hidden, but because of what was exposed. 31 victim names were fully visible. No redaction, no protection, just their names, sitting there in a public document for anyone to search. Virginia's brother Sky Roberts put it plainly. They're redacting the names of perpetrators and unredacting the names of victims. The complete opposite of what the law intended. And it gets worse. Congressman Ro Khanna spent 2 hours inside the unredacted files. When he came out, he went straight to the House floor and named 6 men whose identities had been deliberately kept hidden. One of them, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, an Emirati businessman, a billionaire. His name was protected. Victim names published. A foreign billionaire connected to Epstein gets privacy. Survivors of sexual abuse get their names on the internet. That's not a mistake. That's not a clerical error. That is a choice. And it tells you everything about who this system was built to protect and who it was never designed to help.
The Michael Jackson photo, what TikTok got wrong. All right, let's talk about the photo that broke TikTok. One image surfaces from the files. Michael Jackson standing with Jeffrey Epstein. Within hours, 10 million views. Accusations flying in every direction. People were connecting dots that didn't exist. Then, a man named Matt Fiddes stepped forward. He was Michael Jackson's personal bodyguard, and he was there when that photo was taken. In December 2025, he went on TikTok and said very clearly, "Stop, I was literally there." Here's what actually happened. They were viewing houses. That's it. Michael Jackson wanted to move to Palm Beach to be closer to his friend Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees. Epstein's home happened to be on the market. They toured it. One photo was taken. End of the story. This was 2003, 3 years before Epstein's very first arrest. He was not a famous predator yet. He was just a wealthy man showing a house. Nobody knew who he was. There are 0 flight logs showing Michael Jackson on Epstein's plane. 0 records of any other meeting. 0 connection beyond one house tour, one afternoon, one photo. But TikTok needed more drama. So a video started circulating claiming that Macaulay Culkin had said Michael Jackson rescued him from Epstein. It racked up millions of views. Snopes confirmed in February 2026 that video is completely AI generated and fake. Macaulay Culkin never said any such thing. The video was fabricated from nothing. The internet wanted a scandal. The truth is simpler and far less exciting. Michael Jackson was shopping for real estate in 2003. Matt Fiddes was standing right next to him. That is the verified, documented story. And anyone still pushing the conspiracy version is either not paying attention or doesn't care about the truth. The bigger picture, the system that let it happen. So after everything you've just seen, the mansion, the fake passport, the storage unit, the deleted files, the backwards redactions, what do the images actually tell us? Not who partied with Epstein. That was always the wrong question. What the files actually show is how a system protected one man for 30 years. In 1996, a woman named Maria Farmer reported Jeffrey Epstein directly to the FBI. She gave them everything she had. The FBI did nothing. For 10 full years, Epstein continued. How many more victims were created in that decade of silence?
He has consistently and repeatedly said that in 1996, in the summer of 1996, she reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI after having reported him to the New York Police Department. She reported Epstein and she reported Ghislaine Maxwell as well for child sex abuse crimes, including child pornography. Maria Farmer was a professional artist. She was about 25 years old. She had graduated from the New York Academy of Art, a figurative arts school in New York, and she was working as an employee for Jeffrey Epstein in New York City.
The Justice Department's limited disclosure of records tied to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has brought long-awaited validation for survivor. Although the complainant's name is redacted in the FBI document, Farmer's attorney, Jennifer Freeman, confirmed to CNN that the report refers to her client. According to the document's Facts of Complaint section, the woman, identified as a professional artist, had created photographs of her underage sisters as part of her personal artwork. The report alleges that Epstein stole the photographs and their negatives and was believed to have attempted to sell them.
The photos from these files don't answer the question of who knew Epstein. They answer a far harder question: who protected him? And based on everything you've just seen, the answer is the system itself, for 30 years. And if those redactions are any indication, it still is. Now I want to hear from you. Out of everything covered in this video, what hit you the hardest? Was it the deleted files? The backwards redactions? The fake passport from the 1980s? Drop it in the comments below. And if you think more people need to see what actually got overlooked in these files, share this video. The goal is to keep the story alive. Coming up next, we're going inside Epstein's private island. And trust me, you are not ready for what was found there. See you next time. Remember the day the DOJ dropped over 180,000 images related to Epstein? And within hours, everyone lost their minds. Cable news ran the same photos on a loop. Celebrity screenshots everywhere. TikTok